All right, hey everybody, this is JD Olson with Shidoshi Martial Arts Unleashed and the Martial Art Limited Association. And for this lesson plan, we're actually going to do some knowledge-based stuff. So instead of it being all technique-based, we're going to go ahead and knock out a lot of the knowledge-based stuff on the beginner levels of the Total Fighting Concepts Jiu-Jitsu curriculum. You can use this for definitely a kids program, and so it kind of covers a lot of different elements of that, but it also ties into adult programs as well. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what we call the rules of the school. So really simple, the rules of the school can be any basic rule that you want to use at your gym. So for my gym, so here at Kishi Dojo, one of the rules is no shoes on the mat. Okay, really simple. Another one would be no like hoopy earrings, no dangly earrings, something that could get caught or tear somebody up. And then you could also say, hey, no food on the mat, no drinks on the mat, and just kind of follow that along. And then pretty much any rule that they have at like a regular school system, you know, no horseplay, no touching weapons if you have weapons hanging on the wall, something like that. So moving forward, the other rule that we want to talk about is the 0 rule and the 1 rule. Those kind of go hand in hand. The 0 rule, okay, is going to be do what you're supposed to do without being told. Okay, so for my kids, especially for the parents, if you say, hey, you know you're supposed to brush your teeth every night, go ahead and take care of that. You shouldn't have to tell them 100 times to brush your teeth. That's a 0 rule. I know I'm supposed to do this thing, so I go ahead and do it without being told. The 1 rule, okay, the next rule, the 1 rule, is going to be do what you're asked the first time. So if somebody says, hey, I need you to put that away, if you do what you're asked the first time, it's going to make your life a little bit easier. It focuses on the listening skills and respect. Whereas the 0 rule is responsibility and self-discipline. All right, so now let's talk about the golden rule of grappling. The golden rule of grappling is going to be quick to position and slow to submission. I want you to get to that position of dominant as fast as you can, but I want you to use control when you're tapping your partner out. So quick to position, slow to submission for the golden rule of grappling. Now we have the tap rules. We have the offensive side and the defensive side. The offensive side of the tap rule is to release the submission, but don't give up your position. So once you get somebody to tap, whether it's from a Kimura, American Lock armbar, you can release that submission, but that doesn't mean you have to give up your position. All right? And then the defensive side is a tap before it hurts. So if you feel like, man, this is going to go once he gets it free, I tap now because there's probably going to be a little bit more travel that person is going to register and then finally release their submission. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move into the 3 T's to dealing with a bully. So if we have somebody in school that's been picking on us or somebody that's just causing some trouble, we have 3 T's to deal with a bully. The first T, okay, my first T is to talk. I want you to talk to that bully. Tell them, hey, whatever you're doing is hurting my feelings, it's bothering me, it's offending me, whatever it is. But that's your first step, is to talk to that person. If they had no intention of hurting your feelings, that might be the first step into getting them to stop. Now, if they did intend to hurt your feelings, the second T, okay, is to tell. Tell a responsible adult, either a parent, a grandparent, aunt, uncle, the bus driver, a counselor, the principal, vice principal, teacher. Tell somebody and make sure that information is being passed on. And you don't have to just tell one person, you can tell a couple. So like you can tell your mom, and then maybe your mom talks to your teacher, and hopefully that's getting noticed. And the third T, okay, if you don't remember, the third T is to tackle that bully, okay? But we tackle them in 2 ways. The first way to tackle them is tackle their mind. How do I do that? Remember, to tackle their mind is going to be to ask them a direct yes or no question. Do you have a problem with me? Do you want to fight me? And if they say no, then why are you bugging me? Get out of my face. Like, you kind of taking the control back of the situation. If they say yes, that means they're gonna they're willing to put hands on you or they're gonna put hands on you. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna tackle the body. That is an actual physical tackle at this point because that person, I've already talked to them. I told them what they were doing was bothering me. I've already told people, told the teacher, told my parents. There might have even been some kind of mediation or some kind of talking going on between these people. That person still didn't care. They decided, hey, I want to fight you. I said, hey, do you want to fight me? Do you have a problem? And they said, yes. Now I'm going to have to resort to this. Now keep in mind, if it gets all the way to here, there is still a chance you might get suspended from school because it is still fighting. and all schools now pretty much have a zero fighting tolerance policy. At the same time, and I teach this in my school as well, everybody at this point should know what's going on. My parents should know, and at some point you got to defend yourself. If that person is willing to put hands on you, we got to defend ourselves. So follow this set, and that should help alleviate some of those problems. And if it does come down to it where you get in trouble, you get suspended, again, there's a chain, a pattern that's gone by, and we've kind of noticed that. Okay, from there we're going to talk about what we call the 5 degrees of destruction. Okay, so I have 5 of these things, and what they do is how hard do I hit somebody? So somebody is starting a fight with me, somebody's picking on me, whatever, and I decided I need to hit them. So I have different levels based on what the rule is. So if it's in class and training, the first degree of destruction is what we call 1 inch. You're going to pull that punch before it ever hits the target. I want to make sure if they mess up or whatever, I cannot hit them. The second degree of destruction is going to be to hit the clothing. And what I recommend that is for maybe like in school sparring, in your own class. You don't have to beat on them. You can kind of prove a point by just hitting the clothing and not really hurting your training partner. So the third degree of destruction, how I'm progressing harder, I'm going to hit somebody harder, is going to be to hit the skin. Okay? I recommend that be a tournament. Okay? If you hit them hard enough for it to be visible, audible, for somebody to say, point. So hit the skin. Now, moving on. We pulled the punch before it ever touched them. We just barely touched their clothes, or we touched their clothes. Now we've hit them hard enough that it's audible and somebody can hear it. We're going to hit to hurt. Going to try to make a little bit of pain. I use hitting to hurt in a same size self-defense situation. Somebody is picking on me, like we just had about the degrees of the dealing with a bully. If that person is of my same size, I'm going to hit them hard enough to try to hurt them, so they leave me alone. Okay? Self-defense, same size. The last degree of destruction is going to be to try to kill them. You're not going to probably kill anybody with it. The key thing is if somebody's trying to kidnap you or somebody's trying to abduct you, you're going to hit them as hard as you can, because you've got to try to create some space to break away. And then finally, for this lesson plan, we're going to talk about the 5 ranges of combat. Which ranges can a fight take place in? Okay? If I use any kind of basically weapon, anything in my hand, maybe I'm going to throw this at the camera, that would be my weapon, like a rock. So the first range of combat is weapon range. So weapon range is your first range. The next range is going to be kicking range. So you're getting a little bit closer to your target. Kicking range. I can't punch them, but I can kick them. Third range, we're going to say striking. Keep in mind when I'm referring to striking, that can be punches or open hand hits. All right? Next range, that's 1, 2, and 3, is going to be clinch range, also known as trapping range. Depending on which system you're training, it could be either one. And then finally, the last range is going to be ground range. Okay? Some people say grappling range. I'm okay with either one. Just as long as you understand, you go from the longest possible range to the closest possible range. And so there you have the knowledge-based section of all of the beginner ranks for the Total Fighting Concepts Jiu-Jitsu program here at my gym, also for the kids program and all of Martial Arts Unlimited. All right? Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next video.